see a few faces in here already, nice and early. Thank you very much for coming in. See, John Whitesnake was the early bird there. We've got 2D Sick Wargaming in. Nice to see you. Peter Higgins. Cleo? Sorry, Cleo maybe? Not sure how to pronounce that, but nice to see you in. Nice to see you too, Mark. Christian's in as well. 2D6 looking like he's getting ready and set up for some painting. We've got Chaos Sponge in, We Green Stunties, Peninsula Painting Project, Rage Against the Tides. So we've got a nice little group in there just to start this off. So I'm not just talking to the wall, which is a good start. I will just say that I'm home alone tonight. I've got a baby just next door who's asleep. So I might have to dash off if he starts screaming the house down. But we can pause that on here and you guys can chat amongst yourself till I get back. What I would say is, so the plan tonight is we're going to go for about an hour, up till about 8 o'clock. We've got, the main topic tonight I want to chat about is just the raft of Kickstarters, both sort of board game type miniature games, miniature board games and miniature games that seem to be coming on Kickstarter in the next couple of months. So it wasn't until we got chatting about it today, I think it was me and Christian, and I think Mark might have been having a bit of a chat in the Facebook group, just how many games are coming out. So I thought I would use that for the purpose of tonight. So before I crack on anymore, I just want to make sure that the stream's okay. Make sure you can hear me all right. Make sure you can see me okay as well, because I've got a different camera rigged up tonight. So I just wanted to we'll just make sure everything's all right there. So see, we've got a few more coming as well. We've got Josie there for Green Stuff Games. We've got Jamie's in as well. Nice to see you too. So yeah, full house I think it is, as you say there, Green Stuff. So I'll just let the chat catch up a little bit, make sure that you can hear me and everything seems to be okay, and then we'll probably crack on. So because I think we've got a few in there. So we've got Jens is in as well. Nice to see you too, Jens. Let me just grab a drink there. I'm being very stereotypical northeast tonight, and my drink of choice today is Newcastle Brown Ale. So sorry for being very typecast there. So what we're gonna do is, yeah, everything seems to be all right, and we'll crack on then. So we've also got the Dog Artisan in as well, though. So nice to see you too, mate. Nice to see a few in tonight. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start. Let me just transition this across. We're going to start with, we've got a number of Kickstarters that are launching either right now or are going to be sort of launching soon. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with Batman Miniatures game here. As you can see, it's already started. It's already launched on Kickstarter. And it already, in the space of about 5 days, it's already reached £1.9 million. Now that is just crazy. I can't believe that it's reached that much that fast. So I've just got a baby. No sooner had I said it, I've got a baby crying next door now. I'll see if he settles down in a second. So yeah, so for those that don't know about Batman Miniatures game, I'll just set this video we're playing there as well, so you can see it. So this is basically giving you a little bit of information about the miniatures. It's a little bit of information about what's happening there. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just pop the sound on. See if you can hear the sound as well. Let me know if you guys can hear that. So this is kind of just it's just kind of a, it looks like a bit of a render almost of the Batman computer game. But yeah, just as I've seen there from Peter Higgins, it is a Kickstarter exclusive game. Now, one of the things Monolith decided to do on this was they decided to go Kickstarter only, because what they said was basically is that in Conan they didn't make enough money. They basically said that most of their money went between kind of it went between distributors. It went through the stores took their cut. Everybody had their own little kind of piece from it. So they weren't happy that the price they would have to sell that game for would be so expensive that by the time they made the money they wanted to make, sort of it would have to be about £400 or $400 for the game. So let me just shut that one down now. We'll go back to this. So as you can see here, we've got a number of different things. I'll tell you what, guys, what I'm going to do is So, yeah, right, let's get back to Batman. So, Batman miniatures game, yeah, as I mentioned before, they've gone straight to Kickstarter with it. The worry for me is, I mean, we're talking about the initial pledge is $140. But the problem is, if you want to get everything for Batman miniatures game, it's $320. Now, that is quite a lot of money to be thrown at the game. But it's almost one of those things, if you don't get in now with the with all of the expansions, you will never be able to get them. And that's what really puts me off about this. So I'll very quickly kind of look through the chat and just see what people are talking about. We've got Mark's asking if anybody's back this yet. We've got Jay. Oh, hi Jay, nice to see you in. Not much of a Kickstarter backer, but he says it does appeal. Jens is saying he's going to pass on Batman. That's where I am as well, I think, as well. So, Kelly's saying all good. I'm sure that was about the stream. Yeah, the Kickstarters do serve a hardcore fans, really, don't they? So, what I would say is this one, I won't dwell on this one for too long. But for me personally, the fact that it's Kickstarter only and it isn't going to retail does worry me a little bit, because I know if I do buy into it, I'll never be able to get any of the expansions, because there's no way I'm going to sort of fork out. It says here it's about £231. A lot of money for a game I probably won't play that off. So we'll move on to the next one now. I'll just transition this across. What we've got here is we've got Harry Potter miniatures game by Night Models. So lots of talk about this for quite some time. It's been hanging around in the background for quite a while. And actually, it looked for a while like it wasn't going to happen. And now it's just starting to get some information now. So we've got the Kickstarter, which goes live on the 14th of March. So not too long to wait now. And as you can see here, I mean, some of the quality of the miniatures really is unbelievable. The likeness of these characters here is just like, it's second to none. I definitely haven't seen quality like this in quite some time. The problem is, as we all know, we don't paint like this, unfortunately. So it is going to be interesting just to see basically what the quality of the resins is like. If I skip through them, we've got Hagrid here as well, so you can see the quality of that one. They really are great quality miniatures. We've got here, we've got Dobby. This is a miniature I hadn't seen until today, so it's really, really interesting. Just what the quality of these are like again. We'll do a couple more. Here you can see pretty much. I think it's if you're into the books or into the stories, I think it's Dumbledore's army, which is basically the main sort of characters from the schools. And here we've got one of the Dementors as well. So yeah, unbelievable quality from these guys. The game itself, if I can find a picture of the board and how it looks on tabletop, you can see there's a real mixture of Batman miniature stuff here as well. So here's some pictures here. So I guess this is obviously, we can see here what the resins are going to look like. They look excellent quality. Just hope we can kind of do them justice, or hope I can do them justice if I buy into this. But it definitely seems like more of a board game than a miniatures game as such, or a miniatures board game. It's not going to be like a skirmish game or something like that. Again, we'll skip across. And yeah, you can see Harry here, you can see some of the cards. Actually, if I skip back, you can definitely see some of these cards here which say, we've got one, choose one model, ignores line of sight, restrictions this round, and there's something to do with one jinxed mystery die. So it's going to be interesting to see what all of this actually means when it comes to the game. But again, No news yet on how much this is going to cost. So let me just skip back across to the camera. Yeah, so no news yet on what this is going to cost. But I can imagine it's not going to be cheap. Now, I know night models are not everybody's cup of tea. They've definitely ruffled a few feathers over the years with some of the stuff they've done. And especially the whole story around when they lost the Marvel license as well. And the fact that this has been sort of in the works for so long and it's took such a long time to get here does worry me a little bit. But the quality of the miniatures is unbelievable, and that is definitely, once I see some gameplay, I think this might be the one that I might be going in on this one. So again, we'll just very quickly just have a look at the chat. So we've got Jens is saying that he late pledged Joan of Arc. Actually, just a quick question about Batman there. Jay from Tabletop Oddities saying is, do you think there's a smaller audience because of Night Models Wargame? I probably would have said that until I saw it had reached 1.8 million in the first few days. So I think that's probably answered that one. And then we've got, Mark saying Harry Potter. This is the one. Jens loves this one. Jay saying it might break his no Kickstarter rule. Kelly saying that she's really looking forward to this one. What other kind of games do you play, Kelly? Do you play anything at the minute? Have you got a type of game that you kind of play? Jay saying Night Models annoyed him. Jamie saying miniatures are lovely. Actually, just while I think on, Jamie did say something right at the start that I skipped over and forgot to go back to. I can just find that one. The shout outs to Thomas White, who's going up in his reading books, new subscriber. Thank you very much, Thomas White. So yeah, congrats on the reading books. What else we got? We've got Mick James. Hi Mick, nice to see you in as well. Saying that this will be massive, lovely looking miniatures. It's the miniatures completely have sold me on this one. I need to see the gameplay, but the miniatures, I was there from day one on that for that reason. Peter saying the minis are great, not for him. Kelly saying one room what the cost is going to be like though. Yeah, I must admit it's got expensive written all over this one for me, but time will tell. What day is it? The 6th today, so we've got only about a week or something until we find out. Mark saying Night Models communication, sticking the timeline scares me. Yeah, I must admit, this is one of them. I think this will probably one of them Kickstarters that goes way past its launch date. I think they'll definitely deliver on it. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. I'm 99.9% sure they'll deliver on it, but I don't think they'll deliver it on time. That's one thing to watch out for. What else we got? Souls expansions. I think that's probably a case when you see how many miniatures they are, and because of the kind of the scale of the books and the films, there's definitely some room for expansions on this. 2D Sick saying games based on the TV and film don't interest you too much. In saying that, one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight was just the amount of Kickstarters for games that are linked to TV shows, films, comic books. It's unbelievable at the minute. Josie's off to make some super noodles. Yeah, don't miss out on eating, that's for sure. We've got Dark Artisan saying if it wasn't Kickstarter, me and Lucy would have had it. It's the fact that you buy into it now and you don't see it for 12 to 18 months. That's a bit of you almost forget about it. Not forget about it because you spent all that money, but it does feel like you just kind of you're throwing your money into a pot and hoping it hits gold. Really. Saying you love Zombicide. I'll be getting to Zombicide soon. Kelly Lee saying big into All Out War at the moment. Oh yeah, I'm with you on that one. Fantastic game. We've got Kev saying really interesting Planet of the Apes Kickstarter. You know what it is? I forgot about that one. I haven't got that one in the list today, but yeah, it is another one. We've got Justin saying the cost will stop you. Yeah, like I say, I think this one's got really expensive written all over it. So Jens is saying that there was rumours that the Harry Potter price will not be so high. I think if that's the case, I think if the price is pretty decent, you'll not get much in the starter box, and I think that's the worry. That's where everybody needs to end up going all in on the Kickstarter to get all the expansions and to get all of the add-ons as well. So moving on to the next game, this one, bit of left field one. This one really, I'm not even sure if everybody's heard of it coming out, but this is Pacific Rim Extinction. and this goes to Kickstarter on the 12th of March. Now, this is by Riverhorse Games. And Riverhorse Games, for those that don't know, is the company that is owned by Alessio Cavatore, very famous rules writer for Games Workshop back in the day. Also, he then has wrote rules for Bold Action. He's wrote rules for Kings of War, amongst other things as well. His Riverhorse company has also made the Labyrinth game, which was out not too long ago. They've recently just launched I think on Kickstarter as well, was the Highlander game based on the movie. They did, I think there's a few others that I forget about now, but they've certainly they've certainly been buying into licenses to kind of exploit them. One thing they did do was the My Little Pony RPG as well. Now, what's really interesting about this one, we'll just flick down and we'll go through a few of these pictures. What is really interesting here is these are going to come pre-painted, which is not something that you see very much. So here it is for scale. So it's a 75mm high model, which is kind of way above what we'd normally get. A nice comparison there against a pound coin there and a euro coin. So it's quite interesting. Just kind of the fact that they're going to be so big, and they're also going to be pre-painted as well. And it's saying here they stand between 75 and 100 mil tall. So this is actually one of the smaller ones. Skipping forward to another one here. There's no scale to this one. But if this is, well, actually, I was just going to say this one says digitally painted render. I was going to say if they're painted this well, I can't imagine this being too cheap. I can't imagine this one being very cheap either. But again, I think, actually, if I remember right, I think the first one did say it was a painted miniature. So that one is painted. So you can kind of see the detail they're going for. This looks pretty high quality detail for pre-paints. So I'm quite surprised at these ones, basically. There's just some, actually, to mention Highlander that we were looking at before as well. So, yeah, this is an interesting one. I must admit, I don't think I've actually watched the first Pacific Rim film. I know there's a new one coming out soon. Just transition back. I know there's another one coming out soon, but I don't think I've even seen the first one. So what do you think about it? Let's have a look in the chat and see what people think about this one. So we've got let's get back on right. Riverhorse have got mad skill with games. Labyrinth was very good. I know that I think it was, if I remember right, was it Christian had painted up all of the Labyrinth stuff, did some really, really good jobs on those. Mark's saying they just had the Kickstarter for the Highlander game. Yep, we just saw those as well. Yeah, Mark's saying there as well, more movie IPs, and that is a very much a common theme that's coming through at the moment. I did a video a little while ago about sort of, are movie tie-ins and game tie-ins, are they the future of miniatures games? And I think at the time we were just starting to see it. I think what we're talking about tonight really does show just how many we're starting to see now. Companies are starting to realize that almost because they don't pay for marketing so much. Like, you know, you don't go and advertise on TV, you don't go and sort of advertise in a local paper or something. It's they're starting to get traction purely just by the name of the stuff itself. Peter Higgins is saying, didn't they do the Terminator game as well? Do you know what it is? I had a feeling in my head they did do the Terminator game, but I couldn't remember if that was Warlord or not. Because I do remember seeing it on the Warlord site, but that might have just been because of the connection with Alessio. So yeah, I think they might have done actually. Jamie's saying, if it comes pre-painted, I'll bear my buttocks in Phoenix window. Yeah, I think the proof of the pudding's in the eating, as they say. 2D16, yeah, Warlord did it. We got Scout in the Web, Lee. Nice to see you, mate. 90% sure he's going to get Harry Potter. Yeah, we'll definitely. I can't believe they're not going to give us a bit more information. Sorry, a bit more information before the Kickstarter goes live. Anyway, Yen's saying first one was a nice popcorn movie. Well, I've even got my popcorn here tonight as well. To be fair. Peter Higgins saying he thought he saw Alessio doing his salesman bit at some cons for it. To be honest, Alessio does seem to roll himself out quite often for this kind of thing, much more so than I would say most miniatures companies do. So yeah, eating popcorn. Peter. So that's where it is. Warlord distributes Terminator. River Horse designed it. That's where the connection is. I knew there was something there. So, moving on to the next one. We've got something that came as a bit of a surprise when I saw this last week. And this is Street Fighter, the miniatures game. So yeah, it's quite random, really. Street Fighter, the miniatures game, by a company called Jasco, which isn't a company that I've heard of before. But again, this is another one with, I can just enter full screen there. This is another one with pre-painted miniatures. So this is exactly what you'll get. To me, this looks like something that you get in those collectible, you know, when there's a new issue every month and you get some kind of collectible figure. But this one looks a little bit sort of not quite what I was expecting, really. So back and see Wells. There's some let's see what else we've got on this one, because I'm sure there were some more pictures of other I'll let that video just play there and see if you can see them. So yeah, so here are some of the miniatures. Hopefully that video is streaming okay and it doesn't destroy the stream too much. But I mean, the quality looks excellent, but it's just the subject matter, really. I'm not sure how on earth they're going to do this. Because if I remember right, I've read somewhere that actually these are collector-sized miniatures. So I'm not exactly sure how they're going to do this one, but yeah, it's going to be interesting nonetheless. So let's come back across. So see what people are thinking about Street Fighter. So we've got I've got a crying baby again tonight. So 2D6 is saying the 10-year-old and you just squealed. That was kind of me when I saw it, but then the more I thought about it was, how on earth are they going to do this? Josie's back up with a bowl of noodles. Nice to see you again. Peter's saying, how many editions of this is going to be? Yeah, I wonder if we get to the point where it's Marvel versus Capcom as well. We get some of that in there. Some kind of skirmish game maybe. I bet the Pacific Rim ones look like that. Yeah, I bet they do as well. Panzer's in. Nice to see you, mate. Josie's saying could be like Rumble Slam. It could be, but it's saying that they're collectible size. It's almost like the game's an afterthought to try and sell them, and they're probably more banking on the fact that we've got some that we've got collectors that'll come in and buy these things. So yeah, so this one's a bit of a strange one, really. So we'll keep it cracking on now. While I'm just watching my little man on his monitor go rolling about in his cot back to sleep, and then waking up again. So the next one, and this is one that I'm quite excited about, is Hellboy, and this one's coming from Mythic Games. It's due to launch in April. It's due to launch on Kickstarter in April, I should say. And it's being written by James Hewitt, who you might remember used to work for Mythic many years ago, and who was involved with the Dreadball game, and then went on to Games Workshop, where he wrote the rules for Silver Tower. He helped bring back Blood Bowl. He wrote the rules for Necromunda. So it's going to be interesting just to see what these rules are going to be like. Now, this is based upon the Dark Horse comics rather than the movies. So in much the way that Mantic did with The Walking Dead, based upon the comic books rather than the TV show. This one is again based on the comics. So yeah, this one, I'm a big fan of the comic books and of the movies, to be fair. So this is one that I'll definitely be, if the game lives up to what I hope it lives up to. Mantic tend, what I would say was Mantic tend to write a rule set that I like. I am a bit of a Mantic fan, and it's more to do with the fact that they tend to make rules that I find very easy to drift in and out of. So, for example, Dreadball I reviewed recently on the channel. I find that a game that I can play a few games, enjoy it, never play it again for 6 months, and after an hour of playing, I'm back into it again. I also find that with Walking Dead, I love how easy it is to get into, but there's depth and there's strategy there when you're really looking for it. You can play it as a kind of beer and pretzels kind of game, or you really can get involved in it. So I'm looking forward to finding out what this one's going to be like. So what we'll do is we'll have a quick look at the chat here, see what people are saying about it. So Panzer saying, interesting as you love Street Fighter. For me, it's the gameplay. Yeah, again, mate, I'm not sure what the gameplay is going to be like on that one. So Curve Ridge against the Dice is saying he's definitely getting in a Hellboy. Yeah, Mark saying Hellboy. Yeah, another one on the list. Right, I'm definitely going to have to go and check on the little guy again. I will be back in 2 seconds. I can't apologise enough for this tonight, guys. Back again. Do you know what it is? The only reason I planned this for tonight was the fact that he has been sleeping like an absolute dream for about the last 2 months. So it's typical as it is tonight. Anyway, he's still with me, so that's good. So, Hellboy we're talking about. So, 2D Sick is saying GW made a huge mistake in letting him go. It's really interesting you say that, actually, because I think he just, from what I understand, from what I've read, he just had a bit of a different direction he wanted to go in. It was something he'd always wanted to do, and I felt, excuse me, and I think that he felt he was constrained slightly by Games Workshop. There's a few things that he's mentioned in podcasts and in interviews where he's mentioned that that basically it was very corporate, I think we'll say. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does with this. One thing I will say is that I've been speaking to him recently. We've set up an interview, and I'm going to interview him next weekend. So hopefully, you guys have got any questions you want me to ask him, feel free to let me know. Excuse me. So we've got Peter saying, loves Hellboy, still using Restic. To be honest, mate, the more recent ones have been in much better plastic. So it'll be interesting actually to see what miniatures are going to be like. Jay saying, apart from main Hellboy game, don't know much about Hellboy. I'm not sure Mantic are a big enough company or have enough money, which sounds strange, but to invest in big things like Harry Potter, I think they probably don't see the return on it, I don't think. So it'll be interesting to see if this is sort of how it goes, just to see where they go next, because they've done Mars Attacks, they've done Walking Dead, and now doing Hellboy. Maybe this is a nice little sideline just to kind of to keep things going. What else we got? Christian saying Hellboy definitely for him. Peter Higgins saying Mantic Kickstarter is always fantastic for value for money. Yeah, I can't disagree with that as well. Yen saying that you've got all the Walking Dead stuff. Yeah, I bought into the Kickstarter as well on the Walking Dead, and I pretty much got everything as well. Love the game. Panzer saying don't apologise. Yeah, we've all been there, mate. Eh? Mark saying if Mantic got Harry Potter, yeah, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? 2D6 saying problems a lot of local friendly gaming stores don't stock Mantic. Yeah, and I've heard this more than once. Now, I know Mantic are trying to get away from... I think a lot of that Mantic stuff with the Kickstarter came around because of the original Dreadball. They did too much too fast. What I would say is I think that is a bit of a thing of the past now. And I think with Mantic, with Walking Dead, they've definitely shown that will sell at retail. They've done a pretty good job with that, to be fair. So I don't think it's an unfair comment, but I think it's maybe a little bit outdated now, dare I say. Seen I love some Dead Zone. Yeah, again, another great game. And I guess, Mark, what you're saying there is although you missed out on it, finding it's difficult. I think that is almost the thing, isn't it? So it does sell at retail, but retailers are a bit worried about stocking Mantic stuff because of the history of the Kickstarters. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword with them at the minute. We've got... Yeah, Peter's agreeing with that one as well. Jamie saying Warlord doing a series of games on 2000 AD by Andy Chambers. Not Kickstarter, But comics, that's interesting. I used to read 2000 AD when I was a kid. I had an older cousin who was probably about 6, 7, 8 years older than me at the time. And he used to kind of hand me down his 2000 ADs and Rogue Trooper and Judge Dredd comics. So I always remember reading them. And the Halo license killed Spartan IPs is a big risk. It's quite interesting that actually, because from what I understand, the Halo license came at a time for Spartan when they were also investing in a lot of equipment, and I think they were having problems with their supplier, so they decided to bring the manufacturer in-house and invested quite a lot of money in new equipment, and then basically had to borrow a lot of money in order to fund that, and then the whole thing kind of came crashing down when their ears, and I think they actually expanded too fast for a relatively small company. So, okay, so that's Hellboy. Moving on to another one, and to be fair, up till now, they have all been sort of named IPs, if you like. This next one is something we've been chatting about again today, and this is Zombicide Invader, which is obviously pretty much Zombicide in space. I was really excited when I first heard about this because I've never bought a Zombicide game. I've always wanted to play one, but just never have. Heard lots of good things about them, but never seemed to get round to it. And I was really excited about it until I saw this artwork, and it looks a little bit Space Marine-y to me. We've definitely got kind of Space Marine and kind of Tyranid type things here, which I was a little bit, and I hope it's just a kind of an early draft type thing, because it's a bit of a shame. But it does look like it's the artwork. The other thing as well is I'm not sure why they need to call it Zombicide, because it doesn't. I know they're tying it in, but even if it was called Xenocide or something like that, you still would have seen the link to it. So I'm just surprised they're calling it Zombicide. But again, I think I don't know if we've got a date on here anywhere when it says it'll be coming to Kickstarter. No, I can't see anything. However, it does say that it's going to be from 1 to 6 players. So even as a solo game, I think it may be something that is worth looking at. So Cool Mini or not are absolutely for what I would say is they are just constantly releasing stuff through Kickstarter. People are complaining at the moment that the Zombicide Green Horde hasn't actually reached them yet, and this one's launching. I think it's not that long ago they launched. Is it Cool Mini or not that are doing Hate as well? I think it is. So there is so much that is coming through on this. Let's see what people are saying about this one. We've got Rage Against the Dicey and Andy Chambers in 2000 AD. I'm sold. Yeah, I need to go and check that one out now as well. Tim saying, hi Tim. Tim saying he wants the Batman Chronicles game and Harry Potter. Might have to sell a kidney on both. To be honest, mate, you might have to sell a kidney if you want one of them, if they're anything like they look. Jamie saying, Games Workshop. This is the Games Workshop legal team. I'm afraid you're going to cease and desist. This might be the time. Maybe they're just trying it on now because Games Workshop have stopped with them letters. So maybe Cool Mini are not trying it on now. But there is a little bit about that, isn't there? Mark saying he loves Zombicide, plays Black Plague, and he's sold. Jens is saying this cow has enough milk. They're definitely milking it for all it's worth, aren't they? Mark saying Xenocide's a better name. Yeah, I agree. I definitely think it shouldn't have been called Zombicide. Harry the Dark Artisan there saying we have Zombicide Black Plague, which is medieval, but the normal one is modern day. Is there much? I have heard the Black Plague version is better than the original one. Is that the case? Can anybody tell me? Yeah, it looks. Do you know what it is? That's what it is. Panzer. When I looked at that, it reminded me of something. And now you've mentioned Space Crusade. It's exactly like that Space Crusade cover. Josie Green stuff saying that I'm still just to play Zombicide. Yeah, me as well. Let's get together and play it together at some point. I did see you say somewhere in the comments who's going to the UK Games Expo. I'm definitely going. I got some tickets for it the other day. Mark's saying and Jens is saying it's April the 10th. So yeah, April the 10th this is coming. So that's pretty soon, then really, isn't it? So we'll start to see that from the price perspective coming through soon. Him saying Space Hulk aside, definitely is, isn't it? And Mark saying they do use their Kickstarter a bit much, but I mean, I think one of the things that's been levelled at Cool Mini or not, is they do a lot of Kickstarter exclusives that you can't get anywhere else. I know some companies do Kickstarter miniatures that you get as part of the package, but they do sell them at a later date, or potentially an alternative sculpt. But I think Cool Mini or not tend to do a lot of Kickstarter only exclusives, which tends to put, excuse me while I just top up my beer, which tends to put a few people off as well. Jamie's saying he also yeah, so Kev's saying he enjoyed Black Plague more. Panzer saying interesting 2000 AD, like to know more. Yeah, me as well. I'll try, if we've got time, I'll try and dig it out at the end. Jamie's saying he's at the UK Expo covering the Grand Clash. Be good to see you there, Jamie. Might not be at UK Games Expo, probably moving house. Yeah, I did remember you saying that with Katie, that you might have a few plans this year. Black Plague is better, but you can use the Black Plague rule updates in the modern. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realise they were kind of compatible like that. So, moving on again. Just a very quick one I wanted to mention, and that is Core Space. So this one, for those that don't know, is by the guys that make, let me get their name again so I don't say this wrong, Battle Systems. These are the guys that make the Battle Systems terrain. So this is some absolutely fantastic terrain with a miniatures game involved, really. As you can see here, this is all clipped together terrain. And the reason I bring it up here is it is, at the moment, it's funded. So it reached £195,000 of its £70,000 goal, but they're still taking late backers at the minute. And basically, it's not a bad price, really. I mean, for £84, however, for £84, you get a hell of a lot of stuff in that. And there's a Titan pledge for £120. And as you can see here, they're certainly less than half the recommended retail price for all of the stuff that's in there. For anybody that hasn't seen this, if you have a look on Beasts of War, they did some playthroughs. The miniatures look great, as you can see here. Miniatures look great, and because it comes with all of that scenery and terrain, it looks fantastic. So, one to watch out for. Their scenery and their terrain. I saw at UK Games Expo last year. I saw all of their Walking Dead sort of inspired stuff, and it really does look good quality. I'd seen pictures of it, but I'd never seen it up close. I was really impressed with that when I saw it, actually. So Jens is saying, Joan of Arc had super exclusives. Yeah, I did hear that as well. It's surprising how many have them, really. There were some, I backed Resident Evil, the board game, and there were some things that were in there as Kickstarter add-ons that they were going to release at retail later, but what they found out, because you get the messages because you backed it, what they found out through that time is that actually they can't do it as cost effective as they wanted to, so now they are becoming Kickstarter exclusives and they won't come out at retail. Jay's saying he's been tempted by some of their terrain. It looks fantastic, and if you're not really into kind of building and painting lots of terrain, for the price, it's actually fantastic value. We've got Panzer saying, looks like a wonderful ideas. The figures are different than more sci-fi games. Scenery's amazing. Josie's saying they're doing all the stuff for the Fallout game. I didn't realise that, actually, Josie. The Fallout game is something else actually that I need to keep an eye on. I did see Asgard War Games, who are the company that's quite local to me, who gave me the Shadespire box for the giveaway in a competition recently. They just sent an email out the other day where they were taking pre-orders for it with a nice hefty discount, and I must admit I was getting a bit tempted by that for the Fallout stuff. So we'll move on. We've got another couple to look at, and we've got about 10 minutes left. So this one is something that I think it was Christian told me about today, and this one is Mythic Games, a project called Solomon Kane, and basically I couldn't find a lot of information about it online. But we've got some pictures here of the miniatures, which look quite interesting. I don't actually know a lot about the Solomon Kane story, if I'm honest. I haven't seen this movie, and obviously there's books. I haven't seen them, so. But it does. I mean, the terrain really does set it off. That has to be said. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of miniatures being kind of announced at the minute. So I don't know if you guys have got more information about Solomon Kane. Maybe Christian if he's still around. But it's something else that I'll be watching out for. I'm just kind of looking to see if it says anything about Kickstarter. It's saying that the miniatures are going to be 32mm. Concept art looks nice. But yeah, so while yeah, I was just trying to think there. Robert E. Howard isn't the guy that did Conan, is it? Was that somebody Lee? I think. Just kind of getting my probably getting my authors mixed up. So yeah, so back in the chat, we got Kev saying he was going to miss out on Resident Evil. I must admit, it's due for. It kickstarted in November. It's due for release next November. My birthday's in November, so my wife she treated to me as a birthday present for next year. So, and I did upgrade a couple of things as well to get a few little expansion bits on it as well. But I didn't go all in. I thought it's something that I'd probably just enjoy. I enjoy it for the nostalgia, really, even if it's just for the models, really. And it wasn't too expensive. I think it was only about 60 quid. So it wasn't too bad. Jamie saying, yeah, 20% discount on Fallout. Yeah, so if anybody's interested, it's asgardwargames.co.uk. It's a store not too far from me in Middlesbrough. Jamie's there pretty often, and yeah, they do some really good discounts. They especially do some excellent discounts on GW stuff. So when anything comes up for pre-order, they always do a really good pre-order discount. So yeah, Jamie's saying Robert E. Howard is Conan. I thought, is that the same? That is the same name, isn't it? Yeah, Robert E. Howard. Sorry. Yeah. So I thought I recognised the name. We've got Solomon Kane's a series of books, and he's the chap who did Conan. Yeah, I thought I did remember that name. So the last one we'll skip on to, because I'm going to try and squeeze in 2000 AD at the end here, is, again, Christian mentioned this one today, and it's Purgatory, the Next Testament. Now this one, it's got 25 days left to go. It's roughly half pledged at the minute at about 4,000 of a 9,000 goal. And it's not something I'd heard anything about as well. However, when I saw this, the artwork really does kind of sings to me a bit. It's got that very Blade Runner kind of future feel. I mean, you've got these kind of sort of scantily clad women with angel wings on, with wing fellows. I'm assuming it's a bit of a play on the string fellows thing. And it's got, I mean, the artwork just looks really interesting. Again, I don't know a lot about the game. I think this is either a follow-up or an expansion, or like a sort of just kind of moving on the game, because I think Purgatory is already a game, and this Purgatory Next Testament is an expansion to it. But yeah, I mean, price-wise, for the whole package, for £110, you get 7 models, you get the game box, rules, cards, dice. Without really knowing more about it, I don't know whether they're whether that's good value or not, but it doesn't sound too bad, I suppose. Quality of the miniatures looks pretty good. Some nice detail on them. Not sure if these are plastics or resins. I'm guessing that they're probably resin. But there's some interest. I mean, we got Bobo, a Murder Inc. Footslogger, some kind of killer clown here. We've got a guy called Hannibal, who's got like a sort of a miniature elephant. It almost looks like here. Mike Soul Train Footslogger looks like some kind of 70s disco guy with a huge hammer by the looks of it. So there's some really interesting stuff there, actually. We've also got some custom dice there, which is always nice. And then there's a few stretch goals as well. So let's have a look, because I think I've just seen Christian mention something here. He's saying, can't remember the whole story, but he's a witch demon hunter. Comics are better than the film. That was talking about Solomon Kane there. Yeah, I do. I vaguely remember something about that, but Mark saying he ordered his Shadespire expansions, which was discounted and arrived nice and early. So certainly recommend Asgard. Yep, thumbs up for those guys. Jamie saying it's very Bioshock. It has got that kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Not apocalyptic, but a very sort of near future, I would say, or kind of alternative future. Peter Higgins saying Heresy Lab are doing sci-fi heresy girls, lovely minis, and not the usual pin-up style. just appeared on Kickstarter today and already funded. That's quite interesting if it's kind of funded on its first day as well. So what I'm going to do, guys, is just in the background here, while we are all having a chat, I'm going to try and see if I can find some information about the 2000 AD miniatures game. And see if we can flash something up on the screen, because I must admit I am massively interested in that as well. So we've got, okay, let me just transition this across. So what we've got here is, oh, this is from quite some time ago, where basically this is from the 2000 AD website saying Warlord Games obtained the 2000 AD miniatures license. That was a year ago. Let's see if we can find anything else. So these are all pretty much from 2016. So let me just try and filter it here and see if we've got anything. If we've got anything from the last month, and see if there's anything comes up. No, so I think what we've got here then is just seeing a lot of the Judge Dredd stuff from, because I think, let me get this one. So this is just people selling scenery for it, isn't it? So yeah, I very quickly, I can't see anything there too much at the minute, but I'll do some digging around it. I'll put something on the Facebook page if I find any more information, because it does sound really interesting actually. So we've probably got about 5 or 10 minutes. I don't mind cracking on for a little bit longer actually, if you want to as well, because I've been kind of interrupted a couple of times. He seems to be quiet at the minute, so we'll see that. So back in the chat there, we've got Peter Higgins saying Heresy. Oh yeah, we've mentioned that one. Panzer saying reminds me of an RPG called Cult. That name does ring a bell. Tim Kelly saying Strontium Dog. Oh god, yeah, I remember those Strontium Dog. There was Rogue Trooper. Rogue Trooper was the one who had the token hat and the token backpack and the rifle and stuff, didn't he, as well? I think that's Jamie's Devious 2K as well, I think. They announced it at the retailer's open day last June or what? Okay, so must have missed that one then. You know, the owners of Warlord and they're big 2000 AD fans. I think it's that kind of grown up in the 80s, isn't it? That kind of era. There's still some really huge comic conventions that are just focused on 2000 AD. I think I'm sure I read somewhere it's the biggest British comic book. So it's obviously not on the scale of kind of Batman and DC and that kind of stuff. But from a British point of view, 2000 AD is the biggest comic book from Britain. Christian saying Purgatory game all resin based on alternative world where God abandoned the worlds of creation and the angels took over. Kickstarters to fund the new faction, Refugees of Religion. Okay, so that's a bit more information about it. I like the idea of kind of the whole purgatory type thing, angels. It's very what am I looking for? What's the DC comic book? Keanu Reeves was in the movie. The name's gone from my head now. Constantine. It's a very Constantine feel about it. Jamie's saying, yep, he switched to the iPad. So I thought it was. I'm sure we had that conversation last time that the name cropped up. So, yeah. So, what do you think then, folks? There's obviously quite a few different games there coming to Kickstarter. Is there any ones that stand out to you more than others? Is there any that you didn't know about before tonight that you might have seen that's maybe piqued your interest? Because it'd be just really good to see what kind of things that you guys are looking for. Is Kickstarter something you're interested in? Is it something that you just see as sort of, is it a risk? Has anybody ever backed a Kickstarter where they were burned on it a little bit? Because I know there have been some where people haven't got what they paid for. I think actually the Spartan one was a prime example. There's quite a few people didn't get their stuff from the Kickstarter. Jamie's saying 2000 AD were bought by a game developer, Rebellion, the cheapest way to get the license. Do you know what it is? I guess when a company is, I hasten to say it, but when they're past their peak and they're probably on the downward trend, it probably is a good way to get the license, especially if you think you can do something with it. Jens is saying that it's going to be a great Kickstarter year. It feels like it's going to be the year of the IP license rather than people. Because Kickstarter was always designed when it was new, was designed to try and get new companies to kickstart. Really, that's where the name comes from, to get them some funding to launch something, to get it to market. It's been used in a very different way now. So rather than companies risking their own money, they almost use this as a way to understand if there's a market for the game, first of all, because if there isn't a market for it, nobody will back it. I seem to remember there was a Warlord Games Kickstarter, and I forget what the game was, but it never ended up funding because they basically pulled it because there just wasn't the interest for it. Now it's just companies not wanting to risk their money. So it's quite interesting, mate. You're almost just getting a pre-order, getting a bit of extra stuff for your money, but you've got to wait for it. I mean, sometimes up to 18 months, 2 years in some cases. Jamie saying Core Space looks interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure how long the late pledges is on for, but definitely worth checking it out. Panzer saying look at the Pacific Rim. Those Jaegers look amazing. They did look pretty good, and actually the fact that they're pre-painted, I might have a sort of a second glance at that one. Jens is saying he invested a big amount of money in Kickstarter. Yeah, I must admit, it's the thing that stops me spending more money on Kickstarter is I have to wait. I'm very much an impulse purchase kind of a person. If I could go and pick it up the next day, or I could have it delivered in a week, I think it might be a bit different. Seven Continents on its way. Deep Madness in June. Not too unfamiliar of, but I'll definitely check them ones out. Peter saying Word took forever to send the last Through the Breach Kickstarter. I assume you mean Weird Through the Breach. While we talked about Through the Breach, actually, did anybody back the Weird Games? I forget what it was called now. It wasn't Malifaux. They've done a new game that's coming. But went to Kickstarter. I've not heard much about it. It's all been very quiet, that one. Then we've got Jamie saying, need to understand Kickstarter isn't a pre-order, it's an investment with a reward. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, I think companies are treating it like a pre-order, but there is a risk. You are backing something. You're an investor, really, in that. Mark says it's going to be an expensive Kickstarter year. Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's going to be the case. Tim saying he's been burned on comic Kickstarters, still waiting for 2 from 2013. Yeah, kind of might want to kiss them ones goodbye, I think. Jamie saying Crimson Skies. Again, not something I've heard of. Peter Higgins, all Kickstarters have arrived. I've only ever backed 2 Kickstarters. My first one was The Walking Dead. Everything turned up. My second one has been Resident Evil, and I'm hoping Steamforged Games love or loathe their the last game that the last couple of things they've kickstarted in Guild Ball and in, I forget the name now, it is Dark Souls. They seem to have delivered. But we've got yeah, so Panzer seems been burnt by a Kickstarter or Slayer Industries, and it's going nowhere fast. I have to say, yeah, I feel for you on that one, because I have been in touch with. I mean, to be fair, you put me in touch with the guys, and we did have a bit of a chat about trying to do something together, but they just didn't seem that interested, which I was surprised at. I mean, basically, I was kind of offering them some free publicity. Just wanted to come and have a chat with them, find out more about the game, but they went very quiet, really, which kind of worried me a little bit. Josie saying tend not to use Kickstarter much, like going real life shopping. Yeah, that's me as well. It's like kind of if there was more miniature game shops that I could just walk into locally, I think my wallet would be a hell of a lot lighter. It's a good job that Asgard's a bit of a drive away. If I could walk there, or I could be there in 10 minutes, it might be a bit different. Jamie saying had to laugh at Protoss at Salute selling Aliens vs Predator while people were picking up their V1 Kickstarter. Yeah, that kind of stuff stinks, doesn't it? I think there was a little bit of kickback. Kickback at Mantic, I think, as well, when they with their Walking Dead one. I think basically there was it was available to purchase in store when some of the Kickstarters further afield over in Australia and America hadn't got theirs yet, and I think they had a little bit of a I want to say a whinge, but I think they had a bit of a moan about it. Christian saying late pledge for core spaces until March 31st. Thanks for that, Christian. So yeah, there's still time to get on board with that one if you want to. Tim saying back Gloomhaven, Rising Sun, Thunderstone. Haven't played a single game. That's the problem, right? That's why that's one of the reasons I'm holding off on Batman. I'm a huge Batman fan. Absolutely love the kind of the old stories and like the Killing Joke and all those kind of the graphic novels. Love the movies, everything about it. But I just for the price that you have to pay, I honestly can't see me ever playing it. And maybe I buy it as an investment. Maybe I'll get more money for it trying to sell it afterwards. I think Gloomhaven's probably an example of that. But yeah, it's a bit of a. I think it's the idea of. I mean, you can probably see some stuff behind me on my shelves here. I've got another shelves at the other side of the room there. Half the stuff doesn't get played now, I'm more of a collector, I think, than a player at this stage. Jamie saying big Kickstarter messes. Kickstarter for Drop Fleet end up killing Hawk. Yeah, I think that was is it TT Combat? I think, isn't it? That's got Hawk now, and I think they've almost taken them on as a distributor, really. So Hawk still exists as such, but TT Combat are doing all the distribution stuff. Speaking of which, I don't know whether anybody saw it this week, but War Cradle Studios, who are part of Wayland Games and who have Wild West Exodus, they've just taken up worldwide distribution rights for Infinity. Well, sorry, not for Infinity, for Corvus Belli, but who make Infinity the game. So all Corvus Belli games will now be distributed by War Cradle, and they've also taken up the international distribution rights for Weird Miniatures as well. The other side, that was the War Cradle, the Weird game I was trying to think of. So it seems like War Cradle are kind of there, they've just picked up all of the old the Dystopian Wars and Armada, Firestorm Armada and all of that stuff when Spartan went down. And then they're picking up this as well as distribution. So they've obviously quite a big operation. Either that or they're biting off way more than they can chew. Pans are saying you've got the Conan game, only ever played it once. Is it a long game? I must admit, I did look at picking it up at retail, actually. Is it quite a long game to play? Jens is saying have Conan retail, don't need Batman. Yeah, too many games. That's the problem. There is just so much choice now. It's funny because I obviously made a video a couple of days ago about the bit of the mess going from Warhammer Fantasy into AOS. And to think, like, back when Warhammer Fantasy was 32 years old when they decided to get rid of it, and for probably the first 20 years of that, Games Workshop pretty much had this market to themselves. There was very little out there. These days, there's a new game gets announced nearly every day, if certainly every week, if not every day, and there's a hell of a lot of stuff to try and to decide on. And if you're anything like me, you kind of get shiny-itis and you want to get a little part of everything. Jens is saying you want to pre-order Legion, like Star Wars more than Batman, and you've got Batman from Night Models. Yeah, Star Wars Legion. Obviously, it's funny because there is so much. It's funny because I made a video saying that there was no information. Now it feels like there's so many channels on YouTube have had Star Wars Legion for so long now. It almost feels like an old game before it's even out. If that makes any sense. Conan's a huge box. Yeah, that was one of the reasons I didn't buy it at retail. I think it was like 95 quid and it looked like it weighed a ton. Game plays in about an hour and a half. That's interesting. Jamie saying don't bring that up. If you saw the messages I got, Jamie, you'd be sleeping with one eye open as well. So then, guys, I guess we've been on for just over an hour now. I'll call it there. I know that Nick Idic Beer is having a live stream on the Facebook page. If you're a member of the Idic 40k Wargamers Unification group, if you head over there, I think Nick's doing a live stream as well from 9 o'clock. So I'm going to call it there. Thanks very much, everyone, for your input. I've had a really good night. Sorry for a couple of disruptions that I wasn't expecting. But yeah, really enjoyed it. So what we'll do is, if you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a little note down in the comments. If anybody's been new in here tonight, please click a like and a subscribe, because it all helps. And I'll see you guys in the next video.